Tonight on CW News at 10, guilty on all counts. George TFA convicted in the murder of his wife and for hiring a hitman to do it.
Mental illness and the courts. It is a serious problem facing our state. Now, one judge says she may have an answer. That's coming out.
And chicken commute? This hen stopped traffic crossing a busy bridge, but the reason why? Still a mystery. The CW News at 10 starts right now.
Live from the News 3 studios in Las Vegas, this is the CW News at 10 with Marie Mortera.
Guilty on all counts. That's the jury's decision in the murder for hire case of George TFA, the former firefighter convicted of murdering his wife. It's the big story tonight. Kelsey Thomas joins us from the Regional Justice Center. Kelsey, an emotional day for Shauna's friends and family.
This is a day they have been waiting nearly 3 years for. After 15 hours of jury deliberations, Shauna's sister says the truth finally came out and justice was served.
Verdict. We, the jury, in the above title case, find the defendant, George M. TFA, as follows. Count 1, conspiracy to commit murder. Guilty of conspiracy.
Guilty on all charges. Former Las Vegas firefighter and West Point grad George TFA faces life in prison for the brutal beating of his wife Shauna, a cocktail waitress at the Palms.
It was almost 3 years ago that Shauna was brutally murdered, and we're so happy that justice was served.
Justice for Shauna's family, wearing her favorite color pink, holding hands and in tears as the verdict was read in the courtroom. Shauna's sister, Paula Stokes Richards.
We're just happy that we can finally put this past us and move forward and find whatever our normal is, you know, without Shauna in our lives. But we're just so happy and satisfied that the jurors saw the truth.
Prosecutors had enough evidence to prove TFA arranged a murder for hire, paying a hitman $600 to murder his wife. Surveillance video shows George and convicted killer and hitman Noel Stevens in a store together, buying a hammer, gloves, and a knife. Stevens telling the jury he hit Shauna so hard with a hammer, the hammer broke. Shauna leaving behind a young daughter.
We're just so happy that she is finally at peace, and we know she's, we know we'll see her again. I'm very sad for our little niece. Now she's lost her mom and her dad. And that is the most heartbreaking thing about this whole situation.
George TFA's family and attorney did not want to talk outside of the courtroom today. The trial moves directly to the penalty phase. The jury will be back in court at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Reporting live tonight, Kelsey Thomas, the CW Las Vegas.
Approaching the end of a case that not only captivated Las Vegas, but the country as well. Kelsey, thank you for that. Jurors will only deliberate TFA's sentence on the murder charge. Shauna's sister and the district attorney both agree on what that sentence should be.
George is a controller, a manipulator, and I think the worst hell for him will be staying in prison the rest of his life and not being able to control anything. So, I actually prefer that over the death penalty, so I'm glad that that's the option in this case.
In my opinion, it should be life without the possibility of parole. This was a terrible, terrible, terrible killing, and this man took a person away from this earth for no good reason.
DA Steve Wilson says he is proud of the jurors and happy with the verdict. After the jury returns on the murder charge, the judge will decide the sentences for the remaining 6 counts. For complete coverage of the TFA trial, head over to news3lv.com. A community's golf course in the Northwest closed for good this week after the owner was struggling to make ends meet. Now, many residents in the Silverstone golf community are worried what will happen to the property. The new owners are out of California. Residents are worried the new owners will trade in fairways and sand traps for more housing. Las Vegas City Councilman Steve Ross says it's all about quality of life.
These people moved to Silverstone with the expectation of having a golf course community, and that's what they deserve, and that's what I'm going to protect.
The new owner sent us an email saying he looks forward to creating a use that will benefit all the neighbors and is environmentally sound. And if you were on a golf course today, perhaps the breezes got in the way of your game. News 3 is your weather authority. Ken Janice, are those winds sticking around for a while?
Tomorrow afternoon, I think even windier, Marie, the way things are shaking up. But 2/3 of your Labor Day weekend should be major league gust free. We'll still have some wind, but not quite as strong. Nice night. Temperatures dropping a little bit. We'll check out the view from our camera out of the Lake Mead Marina. You can see the wind. They had the boat boogie going on and some ripples too on the lake. Not full-fledged whitecaps, but I do think the winds will be a little stronger east of the valley tomorrow. Current numbers in neighborhoods across the valley, the range anywhere from 83 on the west side. It's 90 as you work your way across town, including Green Valley, but the humidity levels, you can feel the difference. The air mass much drier today. And then outside the valley, it's 83 in Pahrump, a cool 55 up on the mountain, and still 94 out at the lake. We'll talk about where these temperatures are heading for the big-time three-day weekend. Also, those wind gusts, how strong and how long. Those details coming up in a few minutes. Marie?
All right, Kevin, thank you. And right before Labor Day weekend, Metro making sure partiers celebrate safely. They're holding a sobriety checkpoint right now until 3 a.m. Here's a live look at the checkpoint underway near downtown Las Vegas. The checkpoint will focus on identifying drug and alcohol impaired drivers of all ages, keeping Southern Nevada drivers safe this holiday weekend. New at 10, some closures to tell you about all the way to McCarran Airport. The ramp from Sunset Road to the southbound airport connector will be closed for 12 months starting Tuesday. That southbound airport connector will also be limited to 2 lanes for the next year. This all part of the airport connector project to improve the route you take to and from McCarran. Now to a multi-million-dollar problem. Our jails packed with the mentally ill with no place to hospitalize them and an overrun court system. So one judge is trying something completely different. John Trainer joins us live in the newsroom with that story.
Yeah, Marie, walk into Judge Heidi Almasi's courtroom and you feel the difference. It's more of a conversation than a judgment. Defendants aren't sentenced, they're sent to treatment. It is court for the mentally ill, and here is how it works. If someone is arrested for a misdemeanor offense and is mentally ill, they're taken to the judge. They are offered a treatment program. It is 2 to 3 years, 30 days of free medicine, an assigned counselor, and 24/7 care between the court and the family. It is all designed to stop the cycle of arrest, then jail, then back on the street, off meds, and arrested again. A cycle the judge says she's seen for years.
And I was passionate about it when I came on, and then we kept seeing the same people, and I talked to Julian, and we're like, you know, we can fix this.
Now, right now, there are about 43 defendants in the treatment program. They are running out of room and running out of resources. The city only gave them a grant of about $100,000 to get this done. If they want to keep this court up, they're going to have to show results and show them quickly. John Trainer, CW, Las Vegas.
Results, but perhaps in the end it will save money and lives as well. John, thanks for that. Las Vegas's first IKEA one step closer to completion with the installation of its iconic logo. The 144-foot-long sign saying IKEA Home Furnishings was placed on the signature blue walls put up in late July. Construction on the 351,000 square foot furniture store started in April near the Southern 215 Beltway Durango. IKEA Las Vegas set to open sometime next summer. Word to the wise, never leave your car running when you're not in it. One man in Washington had to learn the hard way as he wrestled with a thief trying to steal his ride. And a hen on the loose in rush hour traffic. I think there's a joke in there somewhere. We'll tell you how long it took Highway Patrol to get this chicken off the road.
And Marie, the 51s are wrapping up their series with El Paso tonight over at Cashman Field. Would they still be in first place when the night concludes? I'll have results later in sports.
Thanks, Randy. GOP candidates taking the pledge, committing to the Republican Party. Did the Donald sign on the dotted line? Find out when the CW News at 10 returns. Oh boy, why did the chicken try to cross the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge? At this point, no one knows for sure, but the bird's adventure made for quite the scene during the Wednesday morning drive. Traffic backed up for miles on the Oakland side of the bridge. The hen running loose for nearly 4 hours until California Highway Patrol was able to nab her and to take her to animal control. A man's car stolen right in front of him at a gas station in Washington State, but he doesn't just let the crook get away. Look, he opens the car door and then jumps in, throwing the car in neutral while he punches the thief. The suspect jumps out of the car, yet the car's owner won't let go. Even as the suspect starts apologizing, that suspect is now in custody. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump says he is loyal to the GOP. He waved a signed copy of the Republican National Committee Loyalty Pledge at a crowd in New York. The pledge promises he will support the Republican nominee and not run as a third-party candidate.
So I will be totally pledging my allegiance to the Republican Party and the conservative principles for which it stands, and we will go out and we will fight hard and we will win.
Trump says in return for signing the pledge, he was assured that he would be treated fairly by the RNC. We should note the pledge is not legally binding. Now for a look at what's trending at 10, a prosecutor in Charleston, South Carolina will seek the death penalty against Dylan Roof, the 21-year-old who confessed to killing 9 people inside of a Charleston church. That prosecutor says the crime calls for the ultimate punishment. The killings happened in June during a Bible study class at Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church. The trial scheduled to start July 11th, 2016. The Kentucky clerk who refused to issue same-sex marriage licenses is spending the night in jail. A federal judge found Kim Davis in contempt of court and remanded her to custody. Davis has refused to issue any marriage licenses in Rowan County since the Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage in June. She says she has a religious objection to same-sex marriage. Davis's attorneys asked the judge to consider other ways to license couples without going against their clients' beliefs. Also trending on the News 3 Facebook fan page, that is not the Bellagio. That's water spraying from the top of the Stratosphere Tower. Turns out it's a test of the hotel's water safety systems. We want to know, what do you think of this unexpected water show? Join the conversation on social media. Your CW News powered by News 3 on air, online, and on Facebook. To find us, search for KSNV News 3 Las Vegas, and while you're there, give us a like. 4 Syrian citizens are in custody accused of human trafficking in connection with the deaths of 12 people trying to get from Turkey to Greece. One of the dead, a toddler whose body was found washed up on a Turkish beach Wednesday.
It's a wake-up call. My brother said to me, it's my kids. Has to be the wake-up call for the whole world. And he said to me, my message to the world, please help those people crossing that water. Don't let them take that journey anymore. I don't want people to die anymore.
She says the heartbreaking sight will bring attention to the migrant crisis going on in Europe. The boy's mother and older brother also died at sea. His father is the only surviving member of that family. An extensive search for the 3 men suspected of killing an officer in Illinois turns up nothing. That's because the person who called in the tip was lying. Kristen Kiefer told police she ran into 2 hitchhikers last night who ran away when she picked up her phone. Police responded in force until Kiefer admitted she made up the whole thing for attention. Lieutenant Joe Glenowitz was killed while pursuing 3 suspicious people 2 days ago. Hurricane Ignacio is kicking up high surf along parts of Hawaii. This video shot off the coast of Honolulu. The storm is well north of Hawaii, and it isn't threatening the string of islands at all, but the surge of wind along the water has tossed sand and debris onto beaches and roadways. And as you can see here, some surfers taking advantage of those massive waves. No big surf in sight for us, but we've still got some great perks in the desert, especially now with these double-digit temperatures. We are your weather authority. Kevin Janison, how is the holiday forecast looking?
Looking good, and I wish we had some big surf because then we would have a story. Some beachfront property, maybe a major earthquake or something. That's not the story going into Labor Day weekend. Nice night across the Las Vegas Valley. This from our camera on top of Mandalay Bay. We start out with a little more moisture, a little more humidity, a few more clouds. Great color on the sunrise, but but as the drier air worked its way in, certainly the clouds pretty much disappeared. And this is the view from our day school, what I like to call the sunset camera. They're over there at Jones and Spring Mountain, couple clouds. Here comes the ball of fire. Boom. Lit up the western sky briefly, and these days are getting shorter too. Vanderburg Elementary, Green Valley Parkway in the 215, they're at 89 degrees, wind still blowing at 7 miles per hour. Over at Betsy Roads up in the far northwest, Elkhorn and Buffalo, they're at 84, and one more stop takes us up to the mountain. Wow, it's a refreshing 55 degrees. Wind speed still noticeable, but down considerably, and I expect that trend to continue overnight. We did have several neighborhoods gust around or even over the 30-mile-per-hour threshold. There were a couple in between here on the Near East Side that actually had 40 miles per hour. Same story outside the valley. Winds simmering down, but have no fear. They'll come back in the afternoon. And the peak gusts well over 30 miles per hour in Boulder City, the lake, especially up there in Pioche. They had a gust of 40, and the winds will be stronger and north of the Las Vegas Valley tomorrow. Our high today, 99, where it should be for the 3rd of September. 79 was the morning low, so that actually makes this an above normal day. Tomorrow, maybe not. Mid-70s to start, about 90 at lunchtime, mid to maybe even not even the upper 90s, probably mid-90s is where we'll park it for a high temperature. But the wind on the rise, and it's really not going to go down too much, but as it picks up steam in the afternoon, we'll have sustained winds at 20 and more gusts over 30. I think, again, some neighborhoods could be a lot closer to 40 miles per hour than they were today. I'd like to introduce you to Kevin. No relation, tropical storm, 60-mile-per-hour sustained winds. It's strengthening, but not expected to do much. The monsoonal moisture is off to the east in parts of Arizona and New Mexico. They had a pretty impressive haboob, another dust storm there in Phoenix. Our story is this same system. It's sagging southward, finally on the move. And as it's on the move, it's going to get closer to us. It's going to pick up these winds out of the southwest a little more strongly tomorrow, probably Saturday afternoon too, before the system moves east and the winds go away. 64 in Pahrump, 50 on the mountain for lows. That is some refreshing, good sleeping weather. 98 at the lake tomorrow, 89 in Sandy Valley, 99 down in Laughlin. For the Las Vegas Valley tonight, we're going down to 75 degrees, still a few leftover breezes, but they're gradually relaxing, which they'll do during the early morning hours, but coming back in earnest tomorrow afternoon, 95 degrees the expected high. If you're interested in a little high school football getting out tomorrow night, the temperature is actually going to fall from the low 90s to the mid 80s, but that wind will be steady, 10 to 20 miles per hour. And your 7-day forecast, I think you're going to like this for Labor Day weekend. Not as windy Sunday and Monday, so we'll go 93, 95, 97. We'll actually have a Saturday night low of 70 and then make another run at triple digits, probably the last one, the middle of next week. 70 on Saturday night. Party hardy, Marie.
It's a gift, Kevin.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Time to get a look now at what's new now and next on News 3 Live at 11. Hey, Jim, how are you?
So these things are so fragile. You drop them off a desk, sometimes they crack, right? Believe it or not, it turns out they're bulletproof.
Really?
Yeah. Student saved by his iPhone when he's shot walking home from school. How his mobile device came between him and a bullet. Also at 11, back to school brawl. Students decide to drop the books and just duke it out. We'll tell you what led up to this campus chaos. Those stories and any breaking news if it happens all tonight on News 3 Live at 11 o'clock.
All right, Jim, thank you so much. And coming up here at 10 o'clock, it is Thursday night, and that means high school football as Chaparral takes on El Dorado. Tonight, Randy has your wrap-up in sports. And this woolly mammoth of a sheep gets a life-saving haircut. The surprising amount of fleece he lost in the process.
All right, tonight's season finale with El Paso at Cashman Field just might be the most important game of the year for the 51s. Win, have a game-and-a-half lead with 4 games to go in the season. Lose, drop to second place, and that win tonight would be very important because El Paso has 2 games with Reno on Sunday. But look at that score, 10-1 El Paso. Chihuahuas take the division lead by a half game with 4 games to go. It'd be a shame if the 51s couldn't close it out, leading wire to wire until right now, down a half game. We'll see what happens. 4 more games at Cashman starting tomorrow night. Well, Thursday Night Lights on MyLV TV, high school football. Chaparral taking on El Dorado on the field that Steven Jackson terrorized school defenses years ago, but the field is named after him, but it was the Cowboys striking first. Nelson Richard cut back, end zone touchdown Chaparral, they were actually shut out last week, and they got it together this week. It would be, again, Richard, his second touchdown of the game for a bigger lead. And then how about this run by Casey Acosta? Big run, cutting it back, taking it to the end zone. And boy, what a difference a week makes. Chaparral comes back and wins 41-8. Next week's game, Palo Verde will host Centennial. And just a reminder, Operation Football tomorrow night, some of the marquee games we're going to be heading out to. Green Valley 0-1. Las Vegas taking the field for the first time this year. Cimarron Memorial and Faith Lutheran both be looking for their first win. Also, Basic will take on Palo Verde and Legacy and Arborview, each looking for their first win. So get out there and cheer on your teams for Operation Football. College football season underway tonight. Arizona Wildcats, former Bishop Gorman star New Solomon playing quarterback for his second season in Tucson. Got some help from the defense early as Texas San Antonio quarterback Blake Bogan shoots with the pick six the other way. And then how about a New Solomon? Dodging defenders all over the place, rolling out to his right. He finds Johnny Jackson for the touchdown. Solomon with 4 touchdown tosses, and right now they lead 10 late in the fourth quarter. And the fight week in Las Vegas is underway. This afternoon, fighters on fight card number 191 for the UFC met the media. One title fight headlining the card at the MGM this weekend. Flyweight champion Demetrius Johnson taking on John Dodson for a second time. He beat him earlier 2 years ago. But locally, how about Frank Mir? Suddenly, he found a fountain of youth after losing 4 straight fights. Mir has bounced back with 2 straight wins. He'll take on Andre Arlovsky, who he says he has a lot in common with.
We're actually very kin in that aspect that both of us have been at the all-time highs of the sport, being heavyweight champions, and and had falls and slants in our career. Stumbled, and everybody doubted us 2 or 3 years ago. Everybody was clamoring for both of us to retire, and we were able to work our way back up to the situation we're at now, where Andre was there talks of him fighting for the title if he wins on Saturday, and I'm not far away either.
All right, so the Bonanza grad back in the octagon. I don't know how much longer. He's been doing it for a long time, but it'd be nice to see him get one more win.
All right. Randy, thank you so much. And finally tonight here at 10 o'clock, a life-changing haircut for this, well, used to be a fluffy sheep. His name's Chris, and he could barely walk with his 18-inch thick fleece. His life was actually in danger. So shearer Ian Elkins volunteered to shear the mammoth creature. Not your simple haircut either. The sheep had to be sedated. It took 45 minutes to remove 88 pounds of fleece, easily beating the 60-pound fleece previously shorn from a New Zealand sheep known as Shrek. Sheep like Chris need to be shorn regularly, otherwise they can develop serious medical issues, so glad all is well there. Thanks so much for joining us here on the CW News at 10. I'm Marie Mortera. Thanks so much for joining us. I'll be back here tomorrow night.